What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Kinesia Outdoors YouTube video. In this video, I'll be doing a gear review of gear that I tested for the 2024 hunting season. This testing started for my fall bear hunt, second week of August, and is ending now Monday, September 23rd, school starting. I don't know if I'll be able to get out again. So I'm going to go over the gear that was new to me that I tested this year, things that I like, things that I didn't like, what I would recommend to be purchased, what I would recommend against purchasing, and so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually on Zoom right now. I thought it'd be quicker to share my screen. I could just show you the website. That way you can easily refer back to kind of what I was looking at. And in doing so, I can quickly go through all of the items rather than pulling something out, explaining it, and then putting it away and then pulling the next thing out. I just have limited space and I thought this would be a cool idea. So if you like this kind of format, let me know in the comments below. If you don't like it, again, let me know. I plan on doing in-depth reviews on almost all of the things on this list. So look out for those as well. But this is just kind of some quick highlights. So let's dive in. I'm going to share my screen here. All right. So one of the first things I want to talk about is the 100% carbon ultralight trekking poles from River Country Products. And what I like to do is I like to mention where I've come from with products, and that gives people kind of an idea of what I have used and my experiences with this based on what I have used. So I will say these poles are lighter than the poles I previously used. I used to use the Peaks Sissy Sticks, carbon aluminum ones, so aluminum on the bottom, carbon on top. I had the cheaper one, whatever that one's called. I was curious to try these because the price is awesome and not everybody wants to spend $120 plus on trekking poles. These are half the price. So these are very intriguing for me for that reason alone. So I'm not going to read off the website. You all can do that. But I will say that some things that stuck out to me are the lightweight, the long handles, the wrist strap being included. Some of them don't include that. Um, then specifically the weight, there's 6 ounces of pole, which is awesome. Again, the price is $60. For me, the pros were that they were lightweight, price was excellent, and they had a really large range of adjustability, which I actually really liked. I'm a big fan of trekking pole shelters, and the shelter I got, which I'll review next, is taller on one end, shorter on the other end. These are compact pretty well, and again, a large amount of adjustability. Plus, with these handles being so long, instead of adjusting the height of the trekking poles as I get into different terrain, different steepnesses, I just slide my hand up and down, and it works pretty darn well. It's pretty quick that way. So there are cons to everything. And the con for this one is they're actually too long for my pack when they're all compressed. And what I mean by that is they were actually sticking out above the top of my AKEC pack. And because of that, they were kind of getting hung up on some things, uh, brush, some branches, things like that. So that was a con for me. If you have a taller pack, you might not experience that, but that is something that I noticed that I was not the biggest fan of. I would definitely recommend these to somebody who's interested in trekking poles. I like using them, and these are ones that, from what I can tell after using them for a day and a half, they seem to be pretty darn good. So now we'll go to the next one. River Country Products, the Trekker Tent 2V. This is a two-person tent. Again, price awesome, $66. I'll kind of go over some of the highlights of the description. So I like that it's fully enclosed and has the rain fly included. It's also advertised as being easy to set up. And what I'll do in my review video, I actually did a time lapse of me setting it up. It took me like less than 2 minutes. It was incredibly easy to set up, so that was fantastic. So it weighs 3 pounds and 7 ounces, which isn't the lightest shelter, but again, I really like that nest. To give you an idea of where I'm coming from, I had the Mountainsmith Shelter LT that had a massive, massive floor area, but there was not a bottom. I used the Mountain Smith shelter for my bear hunt, and the floor print was very large, almost too large to find a place to camp in the place that we chose to camp. So that was one thing I didn't like about it. I also didn't like that setting it up and getting the edges really flush to the ground was just not the easiest thing to do. And you can kind of see in this photo here, it's not really easy to get things fully flush to the ground. So that's why I wanted to go with the shelter with a bottom. And this shelter is, from what I can tell, moderately lightweight for having that feature. which for me is definitely a pro. The Rainfly is included in that price, which is awesome. And again, super, super easy to set up. I actually challenged myself with setting it up with a headlamp in front of my car with the headlights on. Super easy. I had no issues. So that is something that I really liked about it. Now, the price of this again is $66. And with a con of this, now the stakes in guidelines, I would like to see the guidelines be reflective. And I would also, they felt a little bit light to me. So that's kind of a twofold, and it's specifically about the guidelines. Now, with the guidelines being so light, it feels like they could easily be broken. I'm not sure the tensile strength are probably fine, but they just feel a little bit on the lighter side. So for me, that was a little bit of a con. And then they could be made reflective. It's pretty common. The Mountain Smith shelter has reflective like fabric woven into it. Super easy. It just makes it so you can see the guidelines really easily. And then I did put for a con that being fully enclosed, I actually did receive condensation, and I used the tent in this mode. I didn't use the Rainfly. Now all the grass was super wet where I was camped at when I woke up in the morning, but I had condensation all over the inside of the tent. Basically, anywhere there wasn't this netting, I had quite a bit of condensation. The tent right now is actually in the apartment drying out because it got really wet on the inside. So I'm not sure if there could be some different designs put in to reduce that condensation, but for something with so much ventilation here, I'm not sure why it collected a lot of condensation, but that is definitely a con to this shelter. Overall, I would definitely recommend this. Um, for the price, for what everything that it is, I definitely would recommend it. I will say it's probably going to be a little on the smaller side for two people. The vestibule would possibly be able to help with like hosting all of the gear. But just for two people, it seems like it would be a little bit small. So I wouldn't count on this for a two-person shelter, especially if you're larger, like taller people. But again, definitely would recommend this product. So next we're going to move to the FlexTail pump. And this is something that I'm on eBay because I picked it up off eBay. I got the tiny pump. I think I got the 2023. I can't remember. And this thing rocks. I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of it. Basically, I'm not even going to get into the technical part of it. You can kind of go to their website, but it's a pump, fits in the palm of your hand. Double press the button, it fills up your shelter, and then you can hear the pump making a different sound when excuse me, not shelter, the inflatable air mattress. When that is full, it makes a different sound. Press the off button, turn it off. Perfect. Super easy. It comes with all these bits for whatever you kind of need it for. It can even do like vacuum sealing, which is super cool. I don't need it for that. I just need it for filling up my sleeping pad. Now, I did get it for my sleeping pad because in Oregon, there's mold everywhere, and I'm a little bit paranoid about mold, especially after like we regularly clean our windows and stuff, and we still get mold in the trims of our windows. So this is just something where if you're worried about mold being introduced into your sleeping pad because of moisture from your lungs, you're not going to have to worry about that because this is going to reduce the amount of moisture incredibly. So this thing weighs 1.66 ounces. It retails at $30, the newest model. I got a used older model off eBay. I think I got it for like $17. So older ones are out there. The older ones work just fine for me. There's a newer one that's smaller. It's like the size of a like Elmer's eraser, or excuse me, Elmer's glue stick. That one's pretty cool. I don't mind that this one's a bit bigger. It's so small, it really doesn't bother me. So it's small, it's lightweight, it's easy to use, and it's honestly relatively quiet. So I didn't really find it too disruptive. It's pretty darn quick too. So it's not like you're going to be listening to it for 10 minutes. I think it took less than 2 minutes to inflate my AirPad, and again, no problems. So there's cons to everything, and this one, the only con I could come up with is the new version has a light, and this version does not. This product's great. I really don't have anything bad to say about it. It's awesome. Highly recommend it if you are looking for just something to make your process of setting up camp a little bit quicker, and again, reducing the chance of moisture in your sleeping pad. So the next thing I want to talk about is the AKEC Climax 5400. I have actually been in contact with Brandon at ACEC quite a bit, back and forth. Talk to him on the phone, email, communications back and forth. I really like this company. This company is awesome. They've been around since 2021. They have one frame. It's a carbon fiber frame that's pretty darn light. They have two packs, two different sizes. This pack is extremely modular. So I kind of do a quick overview of what this pack has. It has a quick release strap to hold your gun or bow on the pack, keep your hands free. That also makes it accessible in case you run into your quarry, which I actually had happen. And because of that, if the bull that stepped out would have been a legal bull, I would have had a shot. Whereas if I would have had to take the pack off, I guarantee you I would not have had a shot. This 5400 again is going to be the larger pack. The Alpha 3200 is a smaller pack. I'll kind of be reviewing these in tandem because their system just in general is sleek. It's pretty darn adjustable and modular for what you need, what you want. There's a lot of adjustability in the shoulder straps, in the hip belt, even in the lumbar pad. So definitely you can modify this to fit your needs, which is super cool. The Climax, although it's a larger pack, I used it for day hunting for 2 or 3 days. And with these compression straps, it actually gets down pretty darn small, which is awesome. I don't have any backpacking trips. Otherwise, I would have tested it with my overnight gear. And I wasn't about to carry that for a day hunt elk hunting. I wasn't going to add 20 pounds to my pack just to test if I like that or not. Um, so definitely really like that. There's actually 3 modes with these packs. There's climax mode. If you take that off, then you're in regular mode. And then if you have everything off, but put this small pack back on the frame, they actually call it compact mode. So again, just extremely modular. Huge, huge fan of everything about this pack except um couple things here. So something that I'm not the biggest fan of, and it all has to do with the suspension system. So with this pack design's great, the pocket design's great, the extra pockets in places where you need them, but they're not overly bulky. All that is fantastic. I actually have overview videos and gear review videos coming up from this pack and the Alpha pack, so I'll go into more detail. But quickly, the suspension system for me, the shoulder straps could use a little bit more padding, and the hip belt could definitely use more padding, as well as the lumbar pad. For me, there's multiple pads stacked on each other, and I felt like those kind of shifted in that sleeve a little bit, causing not necessarily discomfort, but it just didn't feel as secure and as comfortable. So I would like to see more padding in the hip belt and the shoulder straps. In the lumbar pad, I don't know if it's maybe less adjustable would solve it, but maybe a different choice for the sleeve that the lumbar pad sits in. I'm not exactly sure, but that is something that I kind of had a little bit of an issue with. So that's going to be what I had with this. There was a minor error with the shoulder strap being really squeaky. I've actually been in contact with Brandon back and forth, and we've got a couple solution ideas. I think it's just mine. Everyone else that he's talked to hasn't had this issue. I just had the issue, and I just want to mention that because talking to them with their lifetime warranty, they're fantastic. So they're going to work with you and try to get you taken care of, which is awesome to see. So I would definitely recommend this Climax pack. If that's going to be the pack that you choose. If you can only get one pack from ACEC, I would get the Climax because it does fold up or kind of scrunch down pretty darn nicely. So now let's go over the Alpha. Alpha is a different layout, but it kind of has same functionality of got the pockets where you need them, has extra pockets for organization, which I love, but the pockets aren't overly bulky and it doesn't add a ton of weight. So now that I've kind of introduced the Alpha, I want to talk about the price between them. So the Climax is $587 and the Alpha is $520. Again, they use the same frame. I'm not sure if they have a SKU where you can just buy the bag separately, but if you wanted to do that, I'm not sure if they could do like a custom SKU for you. However, both bags fit on the same frame, so that's something that is amazing. The Alpha is again feature rich, quick release systems there. Some more of the pros, the warranty is awesome. I really love the size of this pack. For me, it's perfect for a day pack slash I could probably do one night in this pack if I put, like my sleeping bag or my shelter on the bottom. I'm pretty sure I could do one night backpacking, possibly two, just because I kind of try to go a little bit lightweight. For a day pack, this is perfect. I've got great organization, pocket layout's awesome. Really am a huge fan of this pack. The cons, back to the suspension I already mentioned, shoulder strap, hip pad, lumbar pad. I'd like to see more and possibly different foam padding. And then again, that squeak, which I've been working on Brandon with at ACAC. We're emailing back and forth, and as far as I can tell, I'm the only one with the issue. So that's pretty cool for them that they've had hundreds of packs go out, and I'm the first one to run into this odd issue. It's not coming up, so for me, that's super cool for them. Highly recommend this pack. If you're only going to get one, I'd go with the Climax. Unless you're only day hunting, then I would for sure go with that Alpha. So next thing I'm going to review, we're going to kind of switch gears a little bit, is the Athlon Midas G2 UHD binoculars. I went with the 12 by 50s. I am color deficient. I can't distinguish between colors. Those red-green colorblind tests, it is embarrassing how bad I am at them. So for me, clarity of glass is essential in helping distinguish animals that are trying to blend in or have similar coats to the surrounding environment. These binoculars are fan-stinking-tastic. I'm a huge fan of these. I own the Maven B2 or B6, I can't remember. The 12 by 50s by Maven, the B series line. Those are really good binoculars. These Midases, again, I don't want to make comparisons, but coming from the Mavens to these, I didn't notice much of a difference in optical clarity. I was sitting, looking, trying to look through brush, trying to play with the focus, and I was not missing my Mavens when I was using these binoculars. Some highlights are the UHD glass. I found it to be quite clear. There's ESP dielectric coating, and then there's XPL coating, as well as they are waterproof and shockproof. So they've just built a really quality pair of binoculars. The weight is 28.5 ounces, and they come in at $538. That is a great, great price for these binoculars. Fantastic price. I like that this knob is rather large. However, I would like to see a little bit more travel out of that knob, which is going into some of the cons. Before I get ahead of myself, some of the pros, they're a little bit lighter than some of the binoculars that are that size. They are pretty darn clear. They're pretty durable. The textures, I like the grip on them. I was bare hand most of the time, and when it rained on me and I pulled them out, I was still able to, hold them without feeling like they were going to fall. So I really enjoyed that. The price is outstanding. I don't know if you're going to find a better pair of binoculars for the price and that size. They're just phenomenal. And then the warranty with these binoculars, or with this brand rather, is fantastic. As far as I know, I don't know that you have to register the warranty. I think you just send in the binoculars, and if it says Athlon, they're just going to fix it for you. So that's something that's super, super cool. Definitely one of the better warranties out there, if not one of the best warranties. Some cons, kind of jumped ahead of myself there. I apologize for that. Is I would like to see a little bit more travel with the focus. I would find myself range finding distances and between like 50 to 75 yards. There would be a change in the topography. So I'd be like maybe a knob and then the mountainside. And then there'd be kind of like a little bench here. And I try to focus on this knob and not the mountainside. And I wasn't finding much difference between the two for the focus. And I'm not sure if that's good or that's bad, but I found that I would have liked to have seen a little bit more focus so I could have slightly better detail in one versus the other, especially in those lower light conditions. I would definitely recommend these binoculars. I've actually looked through some of their other binoculars in the local sporting goods store, and they were fantastic. They're actually what sold me on these. The ones I looked at were just a different model. And again, highly recommend these binoculars. They did phenomenal. Super happy with them. And honestly, I think they're going to be replacing my Mavens. So that's pretty sweet. All right. So next thing I want to talk about is the Catamount Gen 2 binocular pack. I have done and posted a review on this, so I'm just going to go over kind of some of the highlights. This is super sleek. Huge, huge fan of that. It's really simple. There's the MOLLE cut webbing on the side, on the bottom, there we go, and on the side here. I really like how simple this is, but the system itself is really modular with that MOLLE webbing. Some things that I want to go over is like, so there's this pouch here, And then there's these two pouches here, as well as like it's a front opening design. It's actually a picture right here, front opening design. So that's something that's super cool. And I'm just a huge fan of this binocular harness. The binocular harness I had before was the one that comes with the Vortex Diamondback binoculars at Scheels. So it was fine. That was fine. The one I had looked like the Alaska Guide Creations one. And that one I just found to be a little bit bulky. The straps on it didn't hold the binoculars as high as I wanted. That one kind of sat a little bit lower. So, with this one, just a quick brief overview of some of the highlights for me of the description are like the tension closing to keep that top. If it's not closing quickly, or excuse me, if it's not closing tightly, just tighten up the tensioners on the sides. And I really was a fan of that. I like the forward folding top with the binocular harness. That's maybe just a personal preference, but I just find that to be a little bit easier. I like that it stays open. There is a full depth zipper front pocket, which I found useful for like cleaning wipes, things like that. There's the dual stretch pockets on the front, which I kind of pointed out, and then the MOLLE matrix on the sides and bottom. Didn't get a weight for this on the website, not a big deal. The price is $140, which I think is a pretty good price. So some pros for me are that it's sleek, durable, extremely modular. It's compact. It's not this massive thing. And then I really like the top forward folding lid. For whatever reason, that lid really worked for me. Some cons are that the pockets are largely unusable. And I'll kind of go to what I mean by that. So the zipper pocket in the front, and you can see this in my other YouTube video, but if you load these pockets up with anything but really flat, thin objects, the binoculars inside are not going to be able to be pulled out. And then these are labeled as like kind of utility pockets. I found that they're actually best used for just like reed calls, like elk diaphragm calls. Yeah. So I would not recommend loading anything in these pockets other than elk diaphragms, maybe some tags, some cleaning cloths, things like that. Just for me, that's kind of what I found. Um, Another con, and it's not a huge deal, but the 12 by 50s from Maven, it was a tight fit in those. I actually had to turn those upside down, and again, check my YouTube video for that. The Athlon binoculars did fit in here a little bit better. So Athlons are a little bit smaller than the Mavens. They fit great. I don't know if Market Catamount's going to make a larger size. I highly recommend the binocular harness. It's very, very good. I'll say in talking to Mark, they're a small company, Catamount. He's awesome. If I had issues, he actually emailed me and let me know kind of the issues I was having. He had been working on and he had solutions, which brings me to the next gear I want to review, the Gen 2 Cache Pocket. This was something that Mark recommended I get based on what I like to have on my binocular harness, which is like lighter. I have a card reader, I have my Zoleo, I have my all-in adapter, things like that. So this was the solution to that. This thing is pretty darn great. The dimensions are 6.5 inches wide, 3 inches tall, 2.5 inches deep. So it's a pretty darn good sized pocket. There's dual 3/4 access zippers. It's made of a nice durable material. And then it's got laser MOLLE on the top and the back. So you can add it where you need. You can even add it to your backpack if it has a MOLLE attachment point. The weight of the Gen 2 Cache Pocket is 2.4 ounces and it's $36. So I added this to my binocular harness, and for $175, aside from the rangefinder pouch, I can hold everything. My Zoleo, every single thing. I was even putting a lighter and a pocket knife in there just because I had room. Huge fan of the Cache Pocket. It fit everything I needed. Again, I have a video of this, so check that out. It's lightweight, really easy to install. Again, it's sleek. I like that it's like clean and sleek, and it just fits things really, really well. It's a nice addition. It's got the dimensions adding to this binocular harness in length, not in width. So it's not this like giant addition. It was very purposefully built, and I'm a huge, huge fan of that. So some of the cons, and this is like really nitpicky, it makes the bino harness longer. Duh, right? But if you are somebody with a shorter torso, or if you put like heavy or big bulky things in this pocket, it actually kind of goes right on your stomach, depending on how tall you are. This picture looks like it's going to show it a little better. Um, I think that's actually Mark. So for Mark, it's going to go to like above the belly button. For me, it went to my belly button area. So it was just barely above my hip belt on my pack. Not a huge deal, but that just adds some weight there. And that's the only con with this product. If I can't come up with a con with the product, I don't feel like I'm able to give good feedback. That's the con I could come up with. If you put large, bulky things in there, it can kind of press into your stomach if you're doing some like front flexion. And it can be a little uncomfortable, not a huge deal. I highly recommend this product. Huge thumbs up to it. Great addition to the Catamount binocular harness. Big, big fan. So now let's get into some of the freeze-dried meals that I tried. One thing that I have been looking for is with Mountain House, it's fine. The price is good. It's been around forever. However, with me, there's some parts about it, one of them being high sodium, just really upsets my stomach. So I was just trying a few different ones here and there. And Wild Society's one that I came upon. I actually tried two from Wild Society. I tried the beef chili mac, and then I tried the chicken pasta primavera. So we'll start with the beef chili mac, and then we'll move on. Some highlights with this is that, like in the description, you need 8 to 10 ounces of water, 8 to 10 minute cook time. It's 860 calories, 57 grams of protein, 93 grams of carbs, 28 grams of fat. A lot of calories, a lot of protein, not overly high in fat, but not a big deal. If you're out there backpacking, getting a little extra fat's not a big deal. Your body uses that when you're in like low to moderate intensity exercise. Um, so this weighs 5.28 ounces. It's $15, which is right in line with others. And now we can get into the pros. Wild Society, especially this one, excuse me, the dehydrated meals seem to use a small amount of water. Um, that's huge. If you don't have water easily accessible, not using 13 ounces of water, saving 5 ounces of water is a really big deal, especially if you add it up like two, 3 times a day. That's 16 ounces of water that you could be saving and adding on to more and more days. So it could save you trips to your water fill up area, what creek, whatever that would be. Wild Society does agree with my stomach pretty well. I have a podcast about kind of some dietary issues I've had in the past. My stomach can be a little bit sensitive. I try to not eat hardly any sugar. Like I try to avoid it as much as possible. And other more harsh things, some like harsh seasonings affect my stomach negatively. This is fantastic for my stomach. Huge, huge fan of the way that this kind of made me feel. And another cool thing about this company is 20% of their proceeds go towards conservation, which is huge. So if you're somebody who likes supporting wildlife conservation or just like supporting like hunting companies, this company does support wildlife conservation. So definitely a pro in my book. Some of the cons for this flavor, I was not the biggest fan of the texture. I felt it was slightly rubbery, and there just wasn't much flavor in this one for me, honestly. And I don't know if I'm just being a snob or what, but the Mountain House one to me tastes pretty good. And I know comparing Mountain House to Wild Society, not cool, right? But for me, this one flavor-wise, it just came up a bit short. I'm not sure if it was just my bag or if it's just this flavor. Maybe with chili, because chili is hard on a lot of people's stomachs, they kept out some of the stronger flavors, the chili, the cumin, things like that, that can upset people's stomachs. So that way more people respond positively to it. I'm not sure, but for me, the flavor was not good, the texture was not good. So this is the first product that I do not recommend out of everything that I tried. And it's just this flavor. Because when we get into the chicken pasta primavera, we can just head there now. Really big fan of this. The flavor was pretty good. It was not the most flavorful thing I've ever eaten, but as far as backpacking dehydrated food, this tastes exceptional. So with this one, it takes 6 to 10 ounces of water. On their website versus the packaging on the bags, there's some inconsistencies with how much water it takes. So that's why I'm putting this range of 8 to 10 ounces, 6 to 10 ounces. There's an 8 minute cook time, super quick, 930 calories, a little bit more fat. I'm not worried about fat when I'm backpacking or just hunting in general. This one also weighs 5.28 ounces, also costs $15. Same pros as before, not a lot of water. This one had pretty darn good flavor, and it was again good on my stomach. Also, 20% goes to conservation. Some of the cons for me, the texture was decent. Um, it's just hard to get really good texture with dehydrated meats. So for me, the texture was it was decent. It wasn't the greatest texture ever. I'm not sure if there's going to be one with an awesome texture. So for that one, maybe it's just like across the board. I'm not the biggest fan of the texture of dehydrated meals, but for me, that was a con for this one, the only con. Definitely recommend this flavor of Wild Society. And now let's move on to Black Ovis. I tried the Black Ovis Cottonwood Creek lightweight pant. They're on sale right now as of today. I don't know if it's because they're going to come out with the 2.0. Not exactly sure. But this is the version that I tried, and I really like these pants. I also bought them on sale, so I did not pay $110. I paid probably close to $80. Really, really liked them. So I'll just go over kind of the general description. They're pretty breathable. The fabric is, it's DWR treated, so there's some water repellency, water resistance there from the outside. Y2K zippers. There's deep pockets with the stretch mesh. There's the EDC carry knife clip on, I believe it's both pockets. I'm a big fan of that. It just adds some rigidity to the pocket, and I feel like it adds strength to the pocket where pockets can be kind of ripped up by those pocket knife clips. I'm also a big fan of the tapered pant leg. I have skinny legs, I have small calves. So when pant legs are tapered a little bit, for me, that really adds to the fit. And then we'll get into the weight. They're 12 ounces. That is super stinking lightweight. Really big fan of that. I don't like heavy pants when I'm hunting. I don't like heavy pants in general. I wear shorts when it's under 40 degrees. I'll probably put pants on if it's like 32 to 35. But I've been known to shovel snow in like shorts and a t-shirt in 30 degrees because I just don't like pants that are hot, that are heavy, that are really uncomfortable and restricting. These pants are great though. I was a really big fan of these, and that's pretty rare for me. I'm a huge snob when it comes to pants. Again, their price regularly is $110. Some of the pros are how lightweight they are, how comfortable they are, how cheap they are compared to some other pants in their class, because some other pants in the class are nearly $100 more, and these ones are pretty darn good. I really like the pockets. The pockets are good size, and I'm pretty big fan of the layout. I don't think that they overdid it with the pockets. Some people might think that they underdid it, but I like it. They're just simple pants. So for me, I'm a big fan of that. All right, now to my cons. I did get a few holes in them after just a couple uses. To be fair, I was hunting in country with blackberries and I walked through them. Blackberries, vine maples. It was in this lower area. Berries got caught. I kept walking. Just small puncture holes, but for the price, I think the durability is really good. It's just I was going through stuff that probably shouldn't have been going through with lightweight pants just across the board. Lightweight pants probably shouldn't be treated that way. So that's the con. Would I recommend these pants? 100%, especially because it seems like they go on sale pretty frequently. These pants for $80 are a smoking deal. And I know Dan Staten at Elk Shape has a discount code. Check out his channel, but you can get them even cheaper doing it that way. So now let's move on. One thing I was super excited about, and I am still excited about it, was the arc frame and the Hellbender from Kifaru. So I'll talk about the Hellbender first, and then I'll talk about the arc frame. So the Hellbender is their first pack they made in Wyoming, I believe, and some highlights about it that I thought were super cool are the sling with the X-Pack material. That actually is part of why I got this pack. So for me, I was looking for a day pack, and before I got this pack, my history of backpacks is the Burlastock. I don't remember which pack, but it has a rifle scabbard in the middle. That one was not meant for smaller waist people. Anybody under like a 30-inch waist was not going to be able to use that pack. I have a 28-inch waist. It didn't work. I have also used the Kuiu packs. I think that one was a 2017 pack. I've used that one with a few different frames, a few different suspension systems. So those are my two other brands. Then I had the Kifaru Duplex Lite, and I had that one with the Nargali bag, and then I got the Hellbender. So that kind of gives you a full timeline of all my bags. And I got this one before the ACEC. I actually should have put this in the order before the ACEC. I use this pack and frame combo on my fall bear hunt with Jason. And the reason I chose this one for that hunt is because I had a camp bag. The camp bag just sits in here super nicely, and that system was great for me because then I had my day hunting stuff separate, and then I had my camp bag. So I just dropped my camp bag. We went out glassing, came back, and I set up to camp. Super easy. Big fan of that system. This bag is really great. I really like the layout. I like this pocket here. I like that you can add the belt pouch. I think it's called a belt pouch. I put the medium belt pouch here. I'm a huge fan of this kind of stuff it pocket. I like so many things about this pack. One thing I don't like is the inside does not have any pockets for organization. That's just a me thing. I like to have those pockets, just like a mesh pocket with a zipper on top, just to kind of keep things separate. I really like that. But other than that one thing, this bag is awesome for just like the bag itself. Super durable. I like the color. It looks great. I'm a huge fan of all that. But now we need to get into the actual cons. Like me not liking a pocket's not really a con so much, but some of the cons that I actually have are that this bag moved around a little bit and the X-Pack material on this side and on the other side was making just a little bit of noise. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that it was not securing down. And part of the issue is this extension here, the amount of material between this and this, if your pack isn't, stuffed with, I don't know, something really voluminous like a puffy jacket or like a sleeping bag, is there's actually not enough, how would I say this? There's not enough material in the bag to keep this compression strap from bottoming out. So then there's room, and then this bag just kind of like slides around and it sags a bit. So for me, that was definitely a big con, and that was really upsetting. I didn't get a weight for this, and the price is $375. So Kifaru makes awesome stuff. They have a fantastic warranty. The price is higher because you're getting extremely high quality gear. So for me, being really excited about this, I was just a little bit let down because of that functionality. I like that you can just adjust so many things on this and make the system what you need it to be. But for me, that was a big downfall for this. And I'm going to be looking into the Bedlam because of that. All right, now we get to talk about the arc frame. So again, I talked about the frames I've used previously. Every frame I've used internally. I actually have used an external frame, the old like orange ones with the pin on the top that is, 20 years old. But all the frames I've used, I've tried carrying, let's see, I've carried at least 80 pounds in my Kuiu, my duplex light, this arc frame, and the ACEC. And I will say, this arc frame with the suspension system of the shoulder straps, the hip belt, and the lumbar pad is fan-stinking-tastic. I'm a huge fan of the suspension system. Huge fan of the frame. The frame's very durable but lightweight. Just ginormous fan of that. I love this frame. I couldn't really come up with a bad thing to say about this frame, but the price. Like, the frame is awesome. It is light, strong, durable, carries more than I can carry. There's really nothing bad I can say about this arc frame at all. It's great. You've got the open part here so you can get airflow through. It's just awesome. So arc frame's great. I went with the 25. I'm borderline 5'10", so the person I spoke with on customer service, which was really helpful, they told me that I needed to just go with a taller frame. I was right on the edge, and it wouldn't hurt me. It would only help me if I was carrying heavy loads, which that's the plan. So I would say this is only an improvement on the duplex light. I don't see anything that I missed from the duplex light frame with the Kifaru arc frame. So I would highly recommend this arc frame if you can afford it, because you're getting just the frame. So then you have to add a bag, which is $350 to $500, I think. So, and then if you want to add any pockets and things like that, again, you're paying for quality when it comes with Kifaru, and their quality is largely unmatched. So Highly recommend the Arc frame. I cannot say enough good things about it. The last thing I want to talk about with this 2024 review thing is the all-in digiscoping system. Previously, I had the Phone Scope Lollipop case or something like that, where you could use it on multiple different optics, and that was super cool. It was just what I had at the time, what I got, and it worked for my spotting scope, my binoculars, and then my dad's binoculars. So it worked on a lot of things for just one system. That was awesome. However, I wanted something that fit my optics a little bit better, and I wanted a smaller, more sleek phone case because I wasn't really able to put that phone in my pocket when I had that large case on. So in steps the All-in. There is another company out there that I didn't go with because it was a recommendation from my friend who used that one with the spotting scope. They had trouble with it. So he said, just get the All-in. It's a little bit more money, but he recommended this one, so we both have All-ins now, and it's easy for us to just switch from one person. So his spotting scope to my binoculars, super easy. Don't have to change anything. Really big fan of that. All right. So with this Bino system, this thing is super cool. The phone case is nice. It's barely bigger than the phone. I mean, unless you're like throwing your phone, it just seems like a normal phone case. This piece here barely sticks out. It's really not a big deal. It does not get hung up on my pockets. And then this adapter here is not huge, but it is rather large when you put them on the eyepiece of the binoculars. So just with this system, as far as I know, this is the only magnet on magnet system. So there's a magnet on one piece, there's a magnet on the other, and they just suck together perfect every single time. There's nothing to it. So as long as you get this eyepiece secured on in a way that's going to work for what you want it to, every time you can put your phone off and on, and you're going to get great video. The only thing that's going to lag is your phone is going to go from like videoing out to then videoing within, and it's just going to take, a second to adjust. Really minimal, but that does happen a little bit. I love this system. Super fast, super easy. Again, it's really nice. The only downsides, and one of them is the function on the phone, so with the phone case, and then the other one is a downside to the eyepiece on the binoculars. I haven't used it on the spotting scope yet. I know Jason has some experience and he really likes it. When this is going, we'll talk about the phone case first. The phone case for me, what I found is if I'm charging my phone and using maps while driving to a hunting spot, my phone gets hot. While listening to a podcast, I should say. My phone gets too hot and it actually stopped charging. So something with the phone case, maybe that's like for protection, but something with that caused my phone to get too hot to charge. So that's something that I wanted to just kind of put out there. I'm not sure if Allen's working on that. Maybe I'll talk to customer service, see if they can kind of work on that. That's a phone, that's one of the downsides. Two more downsides is if you use your flashlight on your phone often, you cannot use it pretty much at all with this case. So just know you're not going to be able to use your flashlight, at least with the iPhones. And then the third one is if you have a wide lens camera, so if you have multiple cameras, it's designed to go around one camera and the other one gets blocked. So if you're on video and you're zooming in and you zoom out and try to get to like 1x zoom, then if you go past it, now you're in the other camera and then you're going to lose your video and it can kind of frustrate you. So just don't zoom out to that other camera and you'll be in good shape. But this is specific to the zooming in camera, not the wide angle lens camera on phones, at least with the iPhone. I think I have the 14, I don't remember. So that's what I noticed. Those are the cons to the phone case. Really not big deals, but just something to be aware of. Now, the cons to this eyepiece are that I cannot use my binoculars when I have that eyepiece on. I can use one side and do the whole pirate thing and use one side of the binoculars and then have the other side filming with my phone. That works really well. But if I'm trying to use both my binoculars, it just sticks out too far and it's too big. It's hard to align my face on my binoculars with this eyepiece on. So that's something that I noticed. And then finally, and this is super, super minor, is they kind of bite a little bit on the eyepiece of some binoculars. They bite on the Maven binoculars a little bit, nothing crazy, but there's a little bit of a bite there that could tear the binoculars up if that's something where you're just pulling it off and on all the time and not following their instructions on their website. So that's a summary of all the gear I reviewed. I would highly recommend the All-in adapter. Big fan of that. Again, a little bit pricey compared to some of the other options, but you pay for the quality that you get. It's a stupid simple system. I'm a really large fan of when things are overly simplified, so you just can't make the mistakes. So I do want to point out my top pick, my favorite thing for all of the gear that I just mentioned, and that's the Athlon Midas G2 UHD binoculars. The price of those is phenomenal, and from what I could tell, they are comparable to binoculars that are much more expensive and less budget friendly than them. So price is great, warranty is great. I was a really big fan of the texture when I got rained on last weekend of just like holding the grip on the binoculars. They did great in the fog. They do great looking through brush and trying to pan through the focus to see through the brush and leaves at animals. They're fantastic. That is definitely my top pick for the late summer, early fall hunting season review that I've been doing. So let me know in the comments below if you have any positive or negative experiences with any of the products I mentioned, and if you have any solutions to any of the problems that I mentioned as well. I don't want to be like knocking any companies, but some things that work for some people just don't work for me in my style of hunting, my body fit, things like that. And maybe there's something that I haven't tried to fix the solution that could be beneficial and that could make me like the product more than I did previously. So leave comments about that below, and also leave comments if you like this style of video of me just kind of going through all the products, sharing my screen on Zoom, or if you would prefer me to just pull every single product out as I went through the video. Let me know. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video.